Before we get into the video, shout out to our sponsors Subside clothing brand. Subside is a new, up-and-coming clothing brand established in Bristol that is looking to add something different with their clean designs that celebrate their roots. You can find the link to all their social medias in the description of this video. From the Terrace Podcast and Subside clothing brand, it's a match made in heaven. Support the boys, support the grind, shop Subside. Hello and welcome back to the From the Terrace podcast and another edition of Champ Talk. Regan, I don't know what you are sarcastically applauding at. Could be nothing to do with me. We'd just like to thank, I think, our fans for the backing we got on the latest episode. Regan, we hit over 1,000 views in 2 days. What are we up to?
I think it's like 1,300 now. I don't know what's going on.
I tell you what, I can only apologise for the suffering me and Regan Valet are causing in this world. Everyone's had a bad enough 2020 and we're only making it worse for you. But it's self-inflicted pain. You clicked on our video, so now you have to watch it all the way through. Anyway, we're back with another episode of Champ Talk and we're going to review the weekend's games. Regan, the first one we're going to talk about, Reading, they get quite a lot of talk on this show, but it's because they're surprising everyone and doing well so far this season. We give them a lot of stick. They won by 2-0 against Nottingham Forest this weekend. But is the talking point Reading?
Well, you can raise points of Reading, saying that everyone's thinking that after their string of games, the wheels were falling off, etc. But they put in some good results, so fair play. But overall, to start off with, when Lamucci was in the job, we talked about him a lot. But since then, we haven't really touched on them as much as we're going to today. But not in a Forest are awful. I mean, the player quality they have on paper is up there. Probably one of the best teams in the league on paper and just on the amount of good players they have. But for some reason, I'm not sure what it is. It might just be from last year. Still, their heads are low and they cannot get results together. But they are absolutely awful. They have star quality players in that team, and yet they are one of the worst teams in the league. And I cannot defend that because players like your Harry Arters, I know I'm going to single them out because they were crap for us last year, but those players like Harry Arter and your Knockarts, they're like the star-studded players of this league. They probably earn the most money in this league on wages, more than likely, and you expect great performances from them, and they give you nothing week in, week out. And I'm really fear for Forest because I thought Chris Hughton would do wonders and he's done the complete opposite and I have no idea where they're going to go from here.
And do you think now that we're starting to get to the point where, okay, it is clearly a player problem and I don't have this opinion and I don't think this should happen, but is it getting to the point now where Chris Hughton's job starts to get questioned? Because there's been no pickup whatsoever. The results have continuously been terrible. I don't have the stats down, but I don't think he's picked up any more than 2 wins. He might have only picked up 1, and they are struggling, and they are really struggling. And maybe Chris Hughton, although I thought it was the right appointment at the time, maybe it's not. Maybe these players, as selfish as it is just the best for the football club right now. They're stuck with these players who have clearly got bad attitudes. Do you just get in a manager who just allows them to play the way they want? Because Chris Hughton, we know he's very regimented, and we know if you got the right team, that works perfectly, and he gets you promoted. But clearly, there's something wrong with the players there. And although it may seem harsh on Chris Hughton, do you think it might be the right step to get rid of him and get in a manager, your likes of your Slavisa Jokanovic, who likes his teams to play? Do you think that may be a suitable option to keep Forest in the league? Because at the moment, they could get relegated.
I think so, yeah, because, listen, not for every manager, there's always going to be one job that no matter how good you are, it doesn't suit you at all. And for me, over the past few years, Chris Hughton's done brilliantly at the likes of Norwich and Brighton, etc. But this just evidently isn't for him. I'm not sure if it's because there's too many big characters in the dressing room, and he can't really control their players. Because you think of the Brighton and Norwich teams, there wasn't really many massive egos, for what I can think of the top of my head, that would really clash with the manager. But I'm looking at that team, and I could imagine there's quite a lot there. But so I think it might be the right decision. And like you said, bringing someone like Slavisa, who doesn't really care about the players' attitudes and just goes, you know what, I'm going to put you out there and you do what you want. I think at the moment, that's probably the best option for Forest because, like you said as well, they could, I predict them near the top. And if they stay like this and keep Hughton, I think they can find themselves very, very close to the bottom instead.
Yeah, it may seem a bit far-fetched to speak about Forest getting relegated, but nothing's too far-fetched in the Championship, in my opinion. And at the moment, although teams like Wycombe, you look at the quality Wycombe have compared to Forest, there's not even a comparison. They're not in the same ballpark. But I'll tell you what Wickham have. They have a team that are motivated, got a manager who all the players trust, and that is going to get you further than a team can't win when you're just carrying certain individuals, and it just can't. And Forest are looking like they're really struggling at the moment. And yeah, it was a 2-0 loss to Reading, and Reading are a good side, but I think this is just a build up of quite a few results now, and I'd be interested to see what Forest fans think, or whether they think Hughton, they want Hughton to stay. I'd be interested to see that, because although it may seem ridiculous to say, it wouldn't surprise me, because the performances have not picked up at all. Anyway, we're going to go on to the next game, and that was Millwall 0, Derby 1. We're going to skip over the ridiculous behaviour of Millwall fans in that game, which was, absolutely astonishing, even for the reputation some Millwall fans have. That I couldn't believe what happened there. But we want to talk about things on the pitch in this series. And Derby won by 1-0. Wayne Rooney and Liam Rosenior's, as well as their coaching staff's, first win in charge since Koku was sacked. A platform to build from, Regan?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd like to clarify. I was saying what happened at the Den is absolutely unspeakable. I'm pretty sure I know both of us, as well as the whole footballing world, shouldn't condone what happened there. But yeah, it's a great stepping stone for Derby. Millwall are probably one of the strongest, rigid teams in the league, and well, I've got to give credit to Derby, because Wayne Rooney's last game he pulled out a right draw, and I backed them to get a draw in this one, because Millwall were the draw merchants really in this league, and to grind out a win, I think that's what surprised me the most, because Derby still got quite a few young players, and for them to get stuck in for a whole 90 minutes and get 3 points out of that, I think is really good for the future of them, and hopefully this is a good string of results for them. I can't remember what their next few games are, but I think I do know what the next game is. So maybe not momentum, but I think going forward, to get their first win, get Wayne Rooney's first win under their belts, can only do things of good. And even though they might lose their next few games, I think going forward, it's only good things for them.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not sure it's only good things going forward, but I get your sentiment behind it, and that it's sort of like getting the monkey off your back in a sense. And they've won their game now. They can concentrate on looking up the league, hopefully, because we know they've got some talented footballers. I mean, Regan, I don't know if you think this is good management from Rosenior and Rooney, but I'm looking at the team that started against Millwall here, and we talk about Derby's unbelievably talented young players, the likes of Knight, who was the guy who scored the winning goal. In fact, they stepped up. You have your Max Birds, you have Sibley, you have Christian Bielik, you have Buchanan, the likes of these young players who have been very good for Derby, but obviously struggled this season. Do you think it was wise to maybe take them out the firing line, and they've brought in the more experienced players, your Shinnies, Martin Waghorn back, Andre Wisdom back, the likes of those players? Do you think it was the right idea just to start getting the feel good factor back and digging in to get the older players back, and then you can start to bring the young guys back into a team that's winning? Because it's not. I don't think young players actually learn much from just getting battered every week.
No, you're right. I think that bringing more experience, that's the word, experienced players in, and getting that result will inspire the young players to be like, okay, this is what this team's capable of now, and we've shown to the league that we can get wins, and then if we come back into the team, we'll fight properly this time. There's something to play for, because we've proved to the league that we're better than what we have been beforehand. So it was a good move by Wayne Rooney. He got, like you said, experienced players, not just in the Championship, in other leagues as well, because the years of experience they have compared to what the 11 that they've been fielding previously, literally you can't compare them. There's so many years compared to hardly any, and I think that if you blend those two together in the future, with a bit of experience leading the younger players, I think that's going to do the players as well as the club a world of good.
Yeah, mate, that's exactly my point. I think these young players need to be nurtured by Derby County, because they are the future of the club, and they're talented, and Derby have something there. And it's not a lot of clubs can say they have such a talented bunch of young players. Need to nurture them, and hopefully Liam Rosenior, because obviously Wayne Rooney's at the helm as well, but I like the way Rosenior works, and I think he knows that better than anyone. So I think they made a wise decision and they got a win under the board on the board, and that'll give them good confidence going to Brentford because we know how tough a game that will be. Finally, the last game we want to touch on from the weekend is Stoke City 1, Middlesbrough 0. I predicted if anyone could go to Stoke and win, it'd be Neil Warnock. He hasn't quite managed it. He's came out and absolutely tore into Stoke for the state of the dressing room. If you saw that, he said it was like a pigsty. He wouldn't even let animals stay in there. Said there was showers weren't working. There was water all over the floor. Doors were open. It was freezing. But Stoke have treated them badly, but they've got the result, and if you may call it gamesmanship, you may call it tactics, but it's worked out for them, and they've won a very tough game. And Stoke are now into the top 6 and looking like a team that could threat the top 2.
Yeah, this is after being the laughing stock really of last year, because where they were at the start of the season under Nathan Jones, this is putting the whole league on notice now if it hasn't already. Because I know you said it was only like 3 weeks ago. You said your prediction of 4 for Stoke was just stupid, but we've seen it. We've seen it quite a few times or so. Even in the Premier League, that busy December schedule, that's a team. Stoke is a team that grinds out results. And no matter how tight the fixture schedule is, they always seem to field an 11 that can grab at least a point, if not 3. And you can rarely predict on them to lose. So maybe, even though I said last week Brentford and I think it's a Brentford and Watford, something up there, the top 2, I wouldn't be surprised if Stoke make their way further up there as well, because to beat a Borough side is not easy at all. So fair play to them.
Yeah. Fair play to Stoke, doing well in the playoffs. A game that I thought was going to go the other way. They've come out at the other end of it well. I think Stoke struggled against Norwich a few weeks back, and we thought that was a bit of a test for them, and they didn't come through it. But you can't win every game, and they've shown now that they can beat some of the better sides in the division. They may be here to stay. They may be a top 6 side after all. Anyway, Regan, let's get into predictions. This is the time when you let us know the results of the past weekend's games. And I mean, I'm not even going to try and big myself up here. We know it's not gone well for me this week, has it? The gap, I got that gap down to 1 or 2, and it's just suddenly, gone like that again.
So I'll quickly refresh. Was it week 13, which was about 3 weeks ago now, 4 weeks ago? The lead was 4 for me. Sorry, I do apologise. It was 2. I do apologise. And then 2 weeks ago, week 14, the lead grew to lead grew to 3. Week 15, the lead grew to 4. And after this week, the lead is now 9, because I smashed this week by 8 results correct to 3 for Bill. So fair play for Reading, Coventry and Huddersfield for basically saving Bill from 0, because that would have been embarrassing. But Bournemouth, Brentford draw, Norwich, Swansea and Cardiff. Cheers.
Cheers. Regan thanks you. I don't thank you though. Piss off. Anyway, we'll get into midweek games. The first one is one that...
quickly. I know you put that.
Overall scores, yeah, what is it?
So 76-67.
Lovely. 76. Well, that's not lovely, but
it is.
Let's get past that. Anyway, Tuesday night games. We're in for a midweek feast of Championship football, and it starts at St Andrews, but not with Birmingham City, with Coventry, who host Luton Town.
I mean, Coventry did what we said they were going to do, and they've got a good run behind them. I'm not, because going into them, I'm like, maybe they'll just survive, but I think they've done quite well so far this season. Whereas Luton didn't really do anything against Swansea. Swansea kind of squash them down and kind of make them.
I think Luton are a good team now, aren't they? They've done well so far this season.
They are, yeah. They were kind of like proved obsolete in the Swansea game, which doesn't feel like on us going to this one. But just purely going off momentum, I'm gonna continue to back Coventry, because the form they're on, I think they haven't lost in about 6 or 7 games or something stupid like that. So I can't look past that. So I'm gonna back Coventry. You
know what? I'm also gonna back Coventry. I'm a big fan of Luton, and I back them to win more often than not, I think. But got beat quite comfortably by Swansea, and maybe there's a time for them to lose a couple of games. There's a reason. Luton Nathan Jones has done a fantastic job there, but the players there aren't consistently at top levels. So they're going to have games where they don't do well. Coventry, like you said, on brilliant form. I think Coventry will take this game as well. Next one is Yorkshire Derby, Huddersfield versus Sheffield Wednesday. Wednesday looked like for a minute they could have upset Norwich, but they didn't in the end. And they've come away with nothing again, and they're struggling for points.
Yeah, it's a tale for both sides, really. That games we seem to predict, no, they could get results. They could get results out of this. They just don't deliver to the standard that many fans think they would, which is a strange one. But Huddersfield, I mean, if you didn't predict Huddersfield to beat QPR, I think you're stupid. So I've got to give credit to Huddersfield for that. And that's Tony Pulis's first loss, I want to say, as Sheffield Wednesday boss. I think he got two, 3 draws. And then I think that was his first loss against Norwich, unless I'm wrong.
I'm not sure about that, but we'll go with it.
I think I may be right there, but if not, then slate me. But for the game, it's a kind of dumbing down team in Sheffield Wednesday, but Huddersfield just like to score, so I'm going to say Huddersfield.
I'm going to back Huddersfield too. I know I can't really get back even with Regan if I'm going to keep doing this, but it's a slow game. We're going to play the long game. I've tried to go too controversial in recent weeks, and it's not worked well for me. So I'm also going to back Huddersfield in that one. Millwall, QPR, nice London derby. We've got a few derbies in midweek. Millwall, a team that I thought were going to do well this season, but have struggled. Lost to Derby on the weekend. I mean, their players aren't happy with the fans, and obviously there'll be fans there again. You would hope that the same thing doesn't happen again. It could be a bit of a weird atmosphere as they host QPR. QPR obviously not exactly on form either.
I mean, they were beforehand, except for the Friday night West London derby. Apparently, after that, all their players just seemed to just disappear. Not sure if it's because that Brentford are just horrible to play against, but I mean, for some teams they're not.
Yeah.
Going into the game though, I mean, these two teams are absolutely terrible on form right now, and so I'm going to bring out the insane logic. I wish we had a graphic so I could just do that, and then, like he says, insane logic over the top. Well, yeah. But these two teams are just so bad that I don't think they can beat each other. So I'm going to go for a draw.
You know what, Regan? I might just put something there that says Regan's logic. For every draw that he does, two teams that are so bad they cannot beat each other. I've said I'm going to get on board with it in recent weeks, but I'm disagreeing on this occasion because I think QPR are going to win at Millwall. I don't want to back it, but I think they are. Millwall just not. If you're losing at home to Derby, I can't back you at the moment. I think QPR are going to come out of their rut. I don't know why I think this, but I do. So QPR are going to win at Millwall. We say we don't back the scummy Rangers on this channel, but I have for once. Stoke City, Cardiff. Next one, Regan. Two teams in form. Stoke in form home, Cardiff in form away. Ooh. Which way is it going to go?
This is going to be...
No team has won more away games in I believe the EFL, maybe just Championship in 2020 than Cardiff.
I'm going to say it now. I think this has potential to be the game of the season so far, just because the form that these two teams are on, this could be an absolute cracker. But I've said that, so it's not going to be. You know what? I said it last week and you called me crazy, so I'm going to do it again. I'm going to say that Neil Harris is saving his job, and I think this is a time for Cardiff now. So I'm going to back Cardiff again.
My head's telling me Cardiff, but I am backing my Stoke boys. I'm backing them all the way. I'm not with Cardiff on this. I don't think they're going to get top 6. Stoke are an actual good team. We're giving it to Stoke to the end of the season. That is what we're doing. The Potters are going to win this one. Swansea, Bournemouth. That is a footballing lesson, if you want to see it, right there. Two good footballing sides. Swansea beating Luton 2-0 on the weekend, but have been inconsistent in recent weeks. Bournemouth thumping Barnsley 4-0, looking about as convincing as you can get. What are you thinking?
Yeah, that's why I'm going to. I don't know about this one because, I mean, how can you lose 3-2 at Preston and look pretty crap to go thumping Barnsley, who are on a all right run themselves. So hard to predict. It's like what's going to
It's the
happen.
battle of the young British managers. It's the battle of the young British players. There's quite a few involved in both teams. It's quite a nice watch for the Championship. I think this is what everything that's good about the Championship. This sort of game.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not going to say that these two teams are so bad they can't beat each other, but I just think these two teams' qualities, I think, will cancel each other out. So I am going to say another draw, a high-scoring one, maybe a 2-2.
I fancy Bournemouth in this one. When you put both teams up against each other, Swansea, don't get me wrong, good side, Steve Keeper, good manager. I just think Bournemouth got the better quality, in my opinion. Just they're the better, more, I don't know, structured team. I just think Bournemouth just that little edge on Swansea. So I'm going to go for Bournemouth in that one. And then finally, to finish off the Tuesday night games, we have Watford, Rotherham. I don't think we'll spend too long on this one, Regan. It's Watford, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. On to Wednesday night, and a nice little 7 o'clock kickoff to kick off that night. We've got Preston North End versus Middlesbrough at Deepdale. Middlesbrough, I've said this before, Warnock will not let his side lose 2 in a row. But do you think he will, Regan?
I don't think he'll lose, but it's going to be Preston, another one of those teams I can't predict because you draw against Wickham, but then you beat Bournemouth the game before, but then you get thumped by Watford the game before that. I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. But I mean, I think we can both agree Neil Warnock's not going to let his team go out there and lose 2 games in a row. That's just like almost impossible. It's going to happen, we know. But I think he's just going to dumb them down and be like, yo, we're just going to sit back here and we're going to grab a draw out of this. So same logic once again, it's going to be a draw again.
I'm going to back a draw too. Same logic as you. I usually come back and I think Middlesbrough will bounce back and get a win. But, don't know, Preston are a difficult team to play against at times. I think maybe this. I don't know. I don't know if Middlesbrough are suited to play against Preston. I don't know what it is. But I'll go for a draw too. We have Barnsley Wickham as the next game. Barnsley off the back of a 4-0 thumping from Bournemouth at Oakwell. I mean, I can pretty much guarantee now that Wickham won't go there and score 4, but will Wickham get a result?
It's getting to this stage now where I can't call these teams convincingly and me going into the game when, yeah, this is going to happen and this team's going to win. Because, I mean, Barnsley just looked a bit crap, but they did well against Birmingham. But Wickham actually put in good results. I mean, a draw against Preston and only losing 1-0 to Stoke is not a bad result. So, I mean, I'm going to go... I don't want to go for too many draws because I know this insane logic just isn't going to work constantly. So I am going to back Wickham.
You know what? We say a lot on this channel to cop ourselves out of it. We can't call it. I can't call this. Barnsley are crap. But then I'm not really convinced by Wickham away from home and like. Oh my God! This is just an absolute punt. I'm going to go Wickham too. I'm just punting it out there. I really don't know. I have no idea this game. I'm being told Wickham just because Barnsley was so bad against Bournemouth. That is all my logic was going into it. Yeah, God, I really have no idea on that one. I know the next game is though Regan Brentford versus Derby County. Brentford threw away a lead against 10 men Blackburn to draw 2-2 on Saturday. Fans are back in at Lionel Road now, or back in for the first time, you could say. Derby off the back of a win. But these are two teams of very different quality, are they not?
Yep, they definitely are. But I have a feeling about this game that this is going to be a Wayne Rooney game. This is going to be Brentford are on a meh form. Yeah, they haven't lost in a while, but they've got quite a lot of draws out of that. I feel like this is going to be a type of game that Wayne Rooney will be like, oh, yes, nick a 1-0 and sit back for the rest of the game. But I think the quality is just too much for Brentford. So I'm going to say I won't be surprised if there's going to be if there's any other outcome than this, but I'm going to just be safe. I'll say Brentford.
I'm going to back Brentford, and I generally don't know where you're coming from. Derby, good little bounce off against Millwall, and I get that. You can't be too sure about any team in the Championship. But for a team that has really got a relatively weak underbelly, I know I have mentioned they've brought the experience in. I just think this is set up for Brentford in front of fans, does give you a boost. I think we're going to absolutely batter Derby County on Wednesday night, and I'm going to say Brentford winning that. Wayne Rooney can come back and try and sit back all he likes. That's not really the Derby way, but if he does that, you're going to get picked apart anyway. I'd suggest they attack us, to be honest. Although you may seem like you're going to get picked apart anyway, at least attack us because you might nick a goal because defence from crosses has been pretty poor this season. But yeah, Brentford are winning this one for me, 100%. 100% I'm going Brentford. Bristol City, Blackburn at Ashton Gate. Blackburn getting a point at Brentford. Now they've got another tricky away game against Bristol City, who are 7th. Tricky for Blackburn, but I'd say this is more tricky for Bristol City. Blackburn are tough to, like you said, Blackburn have got a nice little unbeaten run as well as Brentford have at the moment. It's tough.
I think this is easier than I think this is easier to predict than what you think it is, because I think that Bristol City's defence isn't very good at the moment. They still don't have that defensive solidity, and you're coming up against arguably the best striker in the league right now. And I can only see this going one way. So I'm going to say Blackburn.
You say arguably, and you're right to say arguably, because he's not the best striker in the league, because Ivan Toney came out on top on Saturday. Adam Armstrong's nowhere to be seen.
I mean, I don't think either team or player came out on top, did they?
All right, fair enough. But, mate, I was only setting it up. Table-wise, you'd say it's a tricky game. But I think Blackburn are winning this. I completely 100% agree. Blackburn are going to win at Ashton Gate. The penultimate game of this midweek fixture list of the Championship is Norwich against Nottingham Forest. Last year, you would have said maybe Forest would have gone there and win. I know Norwich are in the Premier League, but even with their team, you'd have said Forest could have gone there and win. Are we saying anything of the sort this year? Is it as straightforward as a Norwich win?
Yeah, I mean, I checked last week, and Norwich got all their players minus Tim Krul, I think, maybe back.
Yeah.
So they're practically back to full strength, and no way Forest win this. Norwich easy.
100% agree. Norwich are winning, and then finally Reading versus Birmingham at the Madejski.
I mean, last time it's a 1-0 Karanka. I can't believe that's happened after the previous run. He does that. But I mean, Reading are doing all right, and I don't think Birmingham can limit Reading to no goals. So I am going to say Reading.
Yeah, I'm going to go Reading too. I'm sorry, that Birmingham 1-0s they happen every now and then, but then they don't happen often enough, and there's a reason they're in the bottom half of the table. But that is it. That is our Championship predictions done for this week. Like I said, thank you for the support on the videos. Me and Regan couldn't quite believe it when we saw the views that came through on it. Hopefully, it's not just a one-off and some dodgy bot has just watched our videos, because it probably is, because that is... maybe the YouTube algorithm has finally given us a break after a couple of years. But anyway, that is it for this Champ Talk. We will be back with another episode later in the week for the weekend's games, and we'll review the games we have just predicted from. Hopefully, I am back within touch and distance of Regan in the predictions, but probably not. I don't think Regan liked my use of the word touching distance then. Anyway, remember to like the video, subscribe to the From the Terrace podcast YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode of Champ Talk. Leave us a rating on iTunes. And Regan, what will we do? We'll see them in the next Champ Talk.